doesn't affect it.
You have to gain some. Yeah.
I think it's the one down the bottom.
No, it's just, yeah. Oh yeah. But there isn't a screw on it.
Yeah, there is right at the bottom.
No, there isn't a screw to
Oh
tighten
yeah.
it up.
It's okay if I have it more up, it should stay. Yeah. I forgot my phone. It's just in my bag in the hallway, hung up black just by the door. Those big funny pegs. Thank you. Hey guys! Could you just put the light in? Thanks. Thank you. Look at you little pop pop. I know they can't see you. Easy. You've got so little paw, have you? Oh, you're such a brave girl. Here you are. Such a brave girl. So hi guys, welcome to live stream. If this is the first time that you've ever joined, then you can ask me questions through Skype, which is Lisa Cairns 12. That's Lisa Cairns 12. And you can even write or you can call. I think today I would enjoy it if somebody called and was prepared to really go into the question or really go into what they're asking. But let's see. If you want to join an event that I'm doing, then you can go to my website, which is my name. It should be linked to this video if you're watching the recording. And And the up and coming event that I have is in Barcelona next weekend. On the Friday evening it's in Barcelona, and then on the Saturday and Sunday it's just outside of Barcelona, and you can find that on my website. So that's Friday the 29th, Saturday the 30th, and Sunday the 1st of October. And then I also have a 10-day retreat from the 4th of November to the 13th of November, and that's in Canar, Spain. So that's the 4th of November to the 13th of November. And you can find that out on my website. And you can either do 7 days or 10 days. And so obviously next weekend I won't be doing talks because I'll be in Spain. So always check my website to make sure I'm doing talks, because when I'm traveling I can't do these online talks, obviously. So this message, what's been spoken about, is so incredibly simple. It's so simple that it seems like it's complicated. And it's so simple that it's impossible for the thinking mind to understand. It sort of slips in between the thinking mind. So we build up our lives based on what society teaches us is right. And society teaches us what's right is material possessions and things. And society teaches us that happiness comes from satisfaction at work, and from money, and from family, from owning a home, from being, I was going to say from being healthy, but I don't know if our society does teach us that. It's trying to. Prior to us being able to speak or think as a child, we had no idea about these concepts. We had no idea about who we were or what we were, what our name was, what we needed to be, what we had to be, what we had to have. We just were. We were just open to life, just experiencing life. without the knowledge that it was happening to someone, to us, but the functioning still happened. And then as we got more and more intelligent, so as our brain grew, we began to be told that life was happening to us. And we got told our name. So say the name of the baby is Andrew. So Andrew got told that he was his name, Andrew. And he kind of got told who he was by his parents interacting him, saying you're a good boy, you're a bad boy, or they like this or they don't like this. And by the way their parents interacted it with Andrew, it kind of grew in Andrew's brain who they were interacting with. The parents kind of taught him he was someone. He was good at certain things, because it's all subjective, being good at something and not being good at others, being good, being bad. But the parents will have had certain prejudice depending on their upbringing, depending on the way they were taught. So the first relationship he has with the parents will kind of install a basic sense of self. And then also through education, going to school, and through the genetics of that particular child, it will kind of begin to develop certain thought processes that inform it that it's somebody that is a particular way, whether it be naughty, whether it be small, whether it be cute, whether it be funny, happy, beautiful, intelligent. And it will kind of find a position of who he is, who Andrew is. And this will form stronger and stronger through time. So in the beginning, Andrew is very loose, and as he grows, he'll become more and more solid and identified. And he'll try things out of who he is and try to be different, and then go back to being the same. Trying always to be likable, to fit in, to feel good. Unless it's being taught that it doesn't fit in and that it's bad, then it will try to be that. And then it, on top of that, gets taught what it needs to do in this life, what its mission is in this life. And it gets taught meaning and purpose and destination and future and happiness and what it's got to get. And all these I don't know what they're called, like neural pathways, I think they're called, form in the brain that give it particular habits and particular ways of thinking about life and about itself. And it gets told by society that it's doing well when it gets pleasure, and it's doing badly when it gets pain. And it's taught to strive for pleasure and avoid pain, but none of this is conscious. It's all unconscious conditioning. And the pleasure, what it associates with pleasure, is something that it's been taught and a genetic impulse. And the same with pain. And by the time it's 20, it already is pretty solid. And I would suggest, even though there's fun and excitement, that by the age of 20 there's also a sense of tightness and fear and agitation. Because it's stressful, everything that it's been told it is. It can also be really super exciting. It's like it's on a mission to do something. But it's also really restricting, and it's also untrue. But it feels so true because that's the thoughts that come up in the brain, so that's the way that the person thinks and sees the world, so that feels like the reality. And every thought comes with a feeling. So if it thinks it likes something, it comes with a feeling of like. So it's not seen as untrue. I remember when I was younger, my mum was a governor for the NHS for this carers meeting, and she invited me to do a talk at the carers meeting on mindfulness. And I know about mindfulness because I was a practicing Buddhist, and maybe I'd implied to her that's what I taught, because it was something that she knew about and something that she sort of understood. So she invited me to do this talk, and I wanted to try for her to give this talk, and it was a disaster because I went in giving the talk forgetting that people didn't realize they thought. Now, they realize they think in the sense of that they think and they do maths, or they think how to do their tax returns, or they think how to sew a dress. But they didn't realize they thought in the sense of their projections and ideas about the world. It just felt like reality for them. Because I got into this subject so young, I couldn't remember what that was to really believe that what I thought was reality. And they couldn't recognize that it didn't make sense to them that their anger towards the NHS or their discomfort and their ideas about what the NHS had done to them — the NHS is the government-run health system — they didn't realize that were thoughts and projections happening in their brain. They thought it was reality. They just thought that's the way it is. And to them, when I tried to say that that's a thought, that's not necessarily reality, that's not necessarily fact, it was so abstract to them. What it did was it evoked immense anger. I was stood in front of like 40 carers, I think, at this carers meeting, and they're carers of people, of children or relatives that have mental health problems, so it's very stressful for them. And then I was trying to explain their projections, their anger towards the NHS was thoughts, and I was trying to sort of show to them to let that go and sort of be in the present moment and just see it as a thought that's passing through. And they just got more and more angry. It was and I couldn't work out why they were getting so angry with me. And then my friend explained to me, who has also come to the talk, Lisa, they don't know they're thinking. And I was suddenly like, I'd forgotten what that was, to be totally identified with thought, to not even notice that you're thinking, and to think that your view is reality. Like, it was really a good lesson for me as a speaker. And maybe there's some people out there that don't realize that everything they see in this world, everything they experience, is a projection of their brain and not reality. Everything. And freedom is seeing that and the sort of letting go of that, even though that happens, and seeing what is reality is this alive presence in which all of that comes and goes in. And that everything that comes and goes isn't real, and everything that comes and goes is never going to give you what you're looking for. What you're actually looking for in this life, that freedom, that peace, that happiness that you're looking for, is beyond anything that comes and goes. So your feelings come and go, your thoughts come and go, your ideas come and go, your relatives come and go, people come and go, environments come and go, money, home, pains, emotions. So when I'm talking about the peace and the happiness that you're looking for, it's not actually a feeling, because that comes and goes, but there is this live presence which is totally home. But in order for that to be recognized, there has to be a collapsing of this energy, which a lot of people call a sense of self, which is attaching itself to form and believes that it is somebody experiencing this life, and it will one day achieve something in life. You'll one day get somewhere. And this can be really terrifying, this message, because who you are is a mystery. And the separate self that attaches itself kind of attaches itself to something it knows, an idea, and to question that can bring up a lot of fear. Because who looks out of your eyes now? Who's looking at me? Who's hearing me? The separate self, the thinking, believes that I'm outside of you. But when you come back to the direct experience, there is no inside or outside. There is nothing that's experiencing everything. There is simply everything, which is nothing. And if you like the word consciousness, because I speak about non-duality and most people speak about consciousness, then you could say all there is perception. There isn't subject, object, there is perception, which is all things. The perception, the consciousness is in all things. So if anyone would like to explore this with me more, and I would really like to maybe have a longer conversation with someone tonight. Sometimes I have long conversations with someone, so somebody that's open to it and is not afraid about being on recorded. So, okay. Let's see. Now everyone's going to say that that they didn't hear that there's something wrong with the microphone or something. Okay, this is from Miles. Now everyone can hear. Hey Deanna. Hi Miles. Hi Phyllis. Hi Alex. Hi Open Eye Han. Hi Andrea. Hi Carla. Hi Raphael. Okay, hi Lisa. Question for live stream. Dunk, dunk, dunk. Hi Lisa, question for live stream. I'm worried that if I were to become awakened, I might lose the motivation to keep up things in my life that I'm currently enjoying, such as partner dancing, working out, following current events and politics, etc. I've heard people say that when they wake up, all these things fall away, and I don't want to let go of them or lose interest in living life. Did your interests, hobbies change after waking up? Well, the thing is if you wake up, you don't need to worry about these things, because if you have them or not, you're just going to be quite a content bunny. So it's kind of like a pointless worry. It's like there's nothing to worry about. Oh, hello Effie, did you just wake up? Hello. Khaleesi just woke up. Duck, 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 boom! Me and Khaleesi are moving soon, and Khaleesi is going to get a garden. This is what I'm most happy about. It's not the fact that I'm moving, but the fact that Khaleesi gets a garden. We live in an apartment at the moment, and even though we have 2 balconies and she sits on the balcony and watches, it's not like a garden. You get a garden! She's 5 years old and she finally gets a garden. Don't you? We've had places with gardens we stayed at, like my parents, but you get a garden! Oh, sorry. Okay, back to interest. Yeah, I think you're worrying about, it's a pointless worry. It's one of those things where you just take the attention back to the feeling, and it's like the mind just wants to worry about something that's non-existent. So most probably there's just a sense of fear arising with awakening, or there's a sense of agitation about it. And so your mind's just finding problems where it doesn't need to find problems. So just acknowledge the thought processes and acknowledge the feeling that's underneath it. And then see that who you are is this alive presence in which it appears in, and that none of that stuff has any reality. The mind pops up with this and that, this and that, this and that, trying to hook in a story and trying to run off, like canter off into the sunset with its story. And really it's all about the cantering. It's all about the hoofs hitting. Hello, hello. You're gonna get a garden, Khaleesi, all for you. All for you. Oh, bollocks. That was a mistake. Oops. are you, Khaleesi? Oh, now you stop. You're just having a nice lick there, are you, Khaleesi? Khaleesi! What? Oh, look at that beautiful girl. Look at you. Looking at your boyfriend. Looking at your boyfriend. Yeah. Poof. Oh God, you're cute. Okay. Anyway, back onto non-duality. But it doesn't matter if I'm speaking about non-duality or not, because this is it. It is all about the journey, not about the destination. Okay. So, hi Keith, I'm okay about being recorded, but I don't know what to ask except what you said about talking to people who aren't into non-duality, especially my friend who has colon cancer. They sometimes get angry when I try carefully to say something, even in the direction of mindfulness, e.g. if I'm suggesting taking attention into the underlying feelings. Yeah. The reason that people get angry is because often they want to keep repeating their discomfort, because in repeating it, it releases endorphins. Someone was saying to me that you get the same amount of release of endorphins the other day if it's if you fail or if you succeed. And so when you're moaning or when you're telling someone about something that's agitating to you or annoying you, your brain is actually releasing endorphins, so it actually feels relaxing if they keep saying it. So when you suggest to them to go against that, actually agitates them, because they want to be able to express their discomfort. There we go. No collapsing. Okay. Hi Renate. Hi Julio. Hi Isabel. Hi Diana. Oh, thanks, Fizzless. Hi Alex. Yes, you're very welcome. You're new to the talks. Welcome. So if you have any questions, you can just ask here. Hey Lisa. You won't be able to see today. Another time, Raphael. So this is from OpenAIHan. He's kept it nice and short. You know, I did not even find your God yet, but what I really look for is a way to forgive that God for the world. But OpenAIHan, I know you're going to be annoyed that I haven't got to the bottom of the question, but you have to see what's going on there. Like when I was waking up, I went through a period of being really angry with God, because it was just a projection of mine that I was angry of God for this life. Look at Khaleesi, my most, I call her the external joy. Like from her beginning, like her beginning was that nobody wanted her, not even me. I didn't want her. I wanted to send her back. I didn't want you. I didn't want you. My friend brought her. She was a street dog that lived under the motorbike, and her whole family had been squashed by cars. She lived on the side of the road, and she didn't have an owner. And the person that owned the photo shop was going to stop feeding her, so she was going to starve to death. And then my friend decided to bring her to me because he knew I liked dogs, and I was like when you're in Thailand, the last thing you want to do is pick up a dog, especially a dog covered in ticks and mangy, and she was very cute. She wasn't the most friendliest dog in the world. And I didn't want her either. And the Thai people wanted to kill her. And I tried my best to find her a home, but nobody wanted her. So she was completely unwanted, even by me. And then eventually I say I'll take her, and I bring her back to Europe, and I can't get us a home. And so for the last 5 years, even though I give her so many walks and we spend so much time outside, we've had to live in apartments, and she's not really had a garden. She's had to travel around with me, and she's done so super well, but I think it's a bit overwhelming for a dog that grew up on the streets, that was left for dead. And then she has to come to Europe, meet dogs that are completely different from the dogs she knows, and sort of live this domesticated life. Haven't you? Haven't you? And she never once blames God. She doesn't have the concept to blame God and feel victim. She doesn't think, screw you, God, I wasn't wanted when I was born. Nobody wanted me. Even the woman that took me didn't want me. She doesn't have that ability to think like that. She doesn't think, I'm a dog who loves being outside, who was born on the streets. God, you never gave me the garden. Or all these people in Thailand who used to hit me with a spade and with brooms and wanted to chop off my leg because I chased the chickens. Screw those humanity for being so mean and evil. She has no ability to think like that. She just always is in responding to life in this moment. She doesn't believe she's someone in relationship to life. So therefore life happens and she takes nothing personally. Do you, sweetie? Do you? You take nothing personally. So basically by saying that, there must be something in you, open eye hun, that's produced that thought process, not a fixed thought process, which is the way it is. It's not God's fault. Like your mind is telling you that, your thought process, because that's the way you've been brought up, that's what society's told you. Your thoughts have grown, your neural pathways have formed that are saying, it's God's fault, all this shit that's happened to me. But Khaleesi can't even see the shit that's happened to her. She has no idea that she was an abandoned street dog, that her whole family was killed. She's now trying to catch a fly. She's going to get her toy, and then she's going to come back and bark at me. She has no idea about any of these things. She doesn't carry it on her shoulders. She doesn't have those thought processes. She cannot speak. She cannot think like we can. So therefore she's totally engaged in what's happening moment by moment, and she doesn't feel victim by life to life. She is life. She's not inside the body. She's not in relationship to me. She is life itself. So you have to question, why has that thought process risen in your brain? It's not a fact. If it was a fact, my dog would be sitting there screaming at God. But she's now just eating a fly. Nope, she's rejected it. She half ate it. So what I'm trying to point to is I'm not trying to be uncompassionate to you. I'm trying to say, question your thoughts. They're not reality. You think your thoughts are reality. You think it's true that this God has done all these terrible things to you. But right now, what's happening? Are terrible things happening to you now? Or is your imagination producing memories and ideas of terrible things? There is peace now. There is a freedom now. When that illusory person stops holding on to what it believes it knows, what it believes is right, what it believes is wrong, what it believes it should be. So go into your feelings. See that hurt inside of you, that you feel victim to life, and see it's not true, that it's only a feeling, it's only a thought, and it's not reality. And if you're getting really angry with me now because you want to keep repeating your story of victimhood, then feel that anger and see that's also not true. It's just a projection that's arising in your brain, making a particular reality there. And then the next one is, but you don't understand. I gave it the same to Roger, and I used to be a Roger. You don't understand. You've always had a blessed life. You don't know what it's like to suffer. At 27, I was saying that. You don't know what it's like to truly suffer. And I really felt like I'd really, really suffered. And that he didn't understand, and it wasn't true. And he kept saying it wasn't true, it's not true. What's happening now? What's happening now? There is nothing that's born, there's nothing that dies. There's nothing that's really hurt or injured. This is what you have to see. That's all thoughts produced by your brain that's been taught in a particular way. You have to see through it. It has to be seen through. Actually, there is no one to see through it ultimately, because everything you believe yourself to be doesn't exist. But it's almost like that illusory you has to eat itself first. It keeps questioning, and it kind of implodes. The lie implodes. Is the idea that We have a backlog of unfelt, unprocessed feelings, just another idea. Or is it true? Of course it's another idea. Of course that's another idea. It doesn't mean that you don't, in this moment, acknowledge what's happening now. But yeah, past is an idea. Hello. Past is an idea, always. I see that there's a good amount of attention seeking going on in my chat. I'm just going to switch it off. I advise everybody just to switch off the chat. YouTube keep promising me that they're going to switch it off for me, but there seems to just be a little bit of a fault with streaming from an iPad and the chat option. So just if you're watching, just big screen it so you don't see the chat. We've got the Korean people and the Trump people back again. I don't know why. Somebody's writing the Koreans eat dogs, and somebody's writing I love Trump. I don't know how I've attracted these people to my talks. But just big screen it so you don't see them. Yeah, so of course that's another idea, Keith. Everything's ideas. There is no truth to anything. All there is presence. We as humans made up the idea. We made up the idea backlogged. Normally when we talk about backlogged, it's to do with plumbing or your paperwork, but now we've put it with emotion. We've got backlogged emotions. And everyone kind of knows what we mean. It means like stuck in the pipes, emotion. But we put all these words together and we communicate, and then we think they've got reality, but they haven't got reality. The reality is that which never moves. Everything else is untrue. Untrue, untrue, untrue. The reason why I suggest to acknowledge the feeling is if you don't acknowledge the feeling, the seeking just carries on unconsciously. So if you don't acknowledge the feeling now, say that, I don't know, so say if you're feeling afraid but there's no acknowledgement of that fear, what might be happening on the surface is a seeking to not be alone, because there's fear of loneliness or fear of being alone. So there's a seeking to not be alone, there's a seeking to be in company, there's a seeking to be in activity. And so just the acknowledgement of the feeling is so it can be recognized, the behavior, the seeking behavior. But eventually even the person that recognizes that and does that is seen to not be true as well. But it's almost like there has to be a seeing through that seeking illusion, a staying with that seeking illusion. One of my particular dislikes about talking about this subject, but actually it's not really a dislike at all, but I'm just going to name it as that so you understand that I'm trying to say it's not a positive thing. But something that I don't enjoy so much is meeting people that quite quickly tell me they're nobody. Because as soon as they start telling me that, I know that they're afraid of being somebody. And they think that that's the new reality, they're nobody. But really they're afraid of being somebody, and they've always afraid of being someone their whole life. So when they've heard they're nobody, it's such a relief for them. But it's just another thought process. It's not that you're nobody or somebody. Both are irrelevant. It's just this. I meet so many identified nobodies. People that are identified with not being somebody anymore, but being nobody. It puts me off doing the more extreme non-duality talk. Like, of course you're somebody. It's like it's normally just another defense the person takes on. So the reason why I point out the feelings is so people can feel that, because if I'm speaking with someone, then I can point out to someone that they're afraid of being somebody, so therefore they're happy, or it makes them feel relief, the idea that they're nobody, but neither one is true. So the feelings, like by acknowledging the feelings, it really makes it understandable what you're doing on the seeking level. And it's not that you have to do anything, it's just the acknowledgement of those two things kind of break it. The next time that you're proudly showing off to someone or posting on Facebook that you're nobody, you're kind of a bit more aware that that's bullshit. And so more than likely that habit doesn't kick in. It keeps breaking. And then what's left when everything begins to break? You're not anything. You're not nobody. You're not somebody. You're not any words. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And then as you begin to see that you're not anything, that instantly implies that you've always been everything. It's beautiful. Even if I do say so myself. It reminds me of Nisargadatta Maharaj quote, "To know I'm nothing is wisdom, to know I'm everything is love, and in between these two opposites my life resides." It's beautiful. It just sums it all up. It gives you no position to sit. It's beautiful. Okay, Keith, what else did you have to say? So it's not to let out the feeling, but to see the seeking that's going on underneath our beliefs and action. Yeah, but sometimes you need to do some sort of emotional release because the emotion gets really stuck in our bodies. There's so many different techniques that you can try if an emotion's getting really stuck in your body. There's the book that I've recommended to people called Waking the Tiger. You could do the tapping thing. What's it called? EFT? All different things to try and release those emotions, but that's not freedom. But sometimes they need to be released in order for you to see they're not true. It's like this, they say, a rich man doesn't have to tell you he's rich. That's sweet, Miles, yeah. Hi, Vinny V. Hi, Lisa. Why the need for all this endless talk about God knows what? Can't you just give us the secret code so you can retire and we can get on with our miserable lives, but without the separation, Vinny? I can't retire. I haven't invested in a pension scheme. So, giving you the secret code would send me bankrupt. Actually, now I've moved to France, I get a very good pension. I like being French. The French really look after you. Well, it's still capitalism, but it's not as bad as England. England are terrible. I didn't realise how bad they were until you move to another European country. And I hear in Scandinavia it's even better, but I'm not moving there because it's too cold. What was the name of the book? It's called Waking the Tiger. And you can also get it an Audible. I think you can even get a free copy of it on the internet. Somebody once sent it to me. But you can download the audio. I think you can listen to it on YouTube. I felt like that was a really nice, succinct way to release traumas. And sometimes when I'm working with someone on my one-to-one sessions, if they're really stuck, I do use that process, but I can't explain it to you just like this. It's maybe better that you read the whole book. Hey, Bradley. I love this discussion on thought. Oh, thanks, Julie. I like your picture of the strawberry. Hi, Andrea. Love you. Hi, Lisa. I'm grateful that you became a teacher. Many thanks, Monty. Oh, thanks, Monty. Hi, Lisa. How can we know that there really is being? That is, how can we achieve that experience beyond the intellect? You can't know it in the intellect, but you are it. What were you prior to the intellect beginning as a baby? There is this alive presence that's happening now. What is it that never changes? But you can't see it intellectually. It's that which is looking out. It's that which is experiencing now. It's what's always been. So I think I was talking about my mum earlier. Maybe I was talking about Khaleesi. No, I was talking about my mum earlier. So I'm going to tell another story about my mother. So when she was turning 70, she was saying she doesn't feel 70. But when she looks in the mirror, she suddenly remembers that she's 70. And she says sometimes it's shocking to think that she's 70. She's older than 70 now. This is a few years ago. And I can't really speak that much to her about non-duality. I slip it in here and there, but I can't really speak that much. She's not interested. But my friend said to her, well, that's because that's not how old you are. And he was like, that's not how you feel internally. You don't feel like you're in age. You feel as old as you were when you were 5, when you were 10, when you were 20. Your essence is ageless. And my mum just got it. My mum was like, yeah, I'm not 70. I don't feel 70. I don't feel an age. When you look to your memory, maybe you can feel an age, like you look at all the different life events that happen. But there's still that same essence, that same presence that looked out of the eyes at 5, at 10, at 15, at 20, when you had your heart broken, when you lost your lover, when you were in love, when you had kids, when a parent died, when you ate. All those different experiences, there was all this ageless presence. And I can't like guarantee that to you. I can't show that to you as such, because it's that which is hearing me now. It's that which is looking out. Who is it that looks out of your body? Is it your memories? Is it your age? Is it this person you imagine yourself to be? Or is there something beyond that? That's always been there, that's still and simultaneously in movement, that knows everything, is conscious of everything, and isn't separate from everything it's conscious of. So my sounds now, my words, my image, are they inside or outside of you? And try to go beyond what you think, what's happening in your direct experience, right here, right now, beyond what your mind tells you, what thinking tells you. Am I inside or outside of you? Careful, Khaleesi. Careful. We have a fly and it just landed on me and I could just see her jumping. We can get you a boyfriend. We can get you a tortoise. A rescue animal, of course. It's got to be a rescue tortoise. Yeah, you want a tortoise? You want a tortoise? Tortoise? You can pick your boyfriend. You can pick your boyfriend. Yeah, you can. You're going to get your goat. A pick-me goat. You want a goat as a boyfriend? Yeah? You'd like a goat? Puppy. Okay. Move on from Khaleesi's boyfriend issues. So happy for Khaleesi getting a garden. Me too. Makes me cry sometimes thinking about it. Hey, Khaleesi? You did not read the question over again, but I got used to it already. Yeah, I can be selective. I can be selective about what I read out. Oh my god, yes, a goat. They're beyond cute and smart too. They could play. I know, I was thinking, because I was watching it, like I could get her 2 boy goats because they like to be together. And the reason why I like the idea of goats is because they stay outside, and Khaleesi is just gonna... It's going to take so much training if I have another inside animal, because she's just so possessive over everything. She's like a wolf. So a goat is something she plays with out in the garden. And I know I can get her to accept it. It's just so much easier if they're not inside in tight spaces all the time. So I do think a goat could work, but it might annoy the neighbours because they can be quite loud. Hi Lisa, hi Raphael, hi Nisargadatta. Is your name really Nisargadatta? Is there any difference in how women and men experience awakening? Do women have this love awakening while men have more intellectual awakening, or is it just nonsense? I think that when awakening is happening, there can be lots of different stages. So there can be the more intellectual awakening, and there can be the more love awakening, and you can have lots of different combinations, and they can come and go. And I don't think it's specific to men or women, but I do notice that yeah, I think that I was going to say I think that men tend to have the more intellectual awakening, but I don't think that's true. I don't know. But then eventually it evens out, and the intellectual awakening and the love awakening sort of meet, and the wisdom and the love come together, and it balances out. But there's loads of different stages to it. I think as a teacher, I'm definitely a love teacher. And that really is the greatest wisdom there is. Maybe that's not an intellectual wisdom, but it's the greatest wisdom there is. In it. In it. I would like to turn the camera to look at Khaleesi because she's just staring at me, but I know that I'll most probably break the stand again. Huh? Is there something you would like, Khaleesi? Is there something on your mind? Could it be something to do with food? Do you want your dinner? Am I just the producer of dinner? You're so super cute. You're so cute. Hey? You're so beautiful. It's not really to do with Khaleesi, it's just sometimes I just get overwhelmed by the beauty of everything. But she seems to be here a lot of the time, so she gets a lot of that projection. You're so beautiful. Okay, breaking the stand or not. Let me see. You're so beautiful. Here you are. Eh? Eh? When I first got her, she wouldn't look me in the eyes. I had to train her to look me in the eyes. You just take it as a norm that domesticated dogs do that, but dogs don't actually do that. They don't look at each other in the eyes. You have to train a dog to read your face. Eh? No, she just stares at me, don't you? You just stare at me. Okay. You would say that, Lisa, about the love teacher being the greater than the wisdom teacher. Where's your objectivity? But don't you realise, Vinny, that love is wisdom? You can't have wisdom without love. Love is wisdom. It's not like you can have wisdom without the love bit. The love is greater. I'm definitely an intellectual, but maybe there's more love in me than I realise. A nice key. What about the powerful feelings of extreme loneliness and desire while trying to awake self-realise? I'm hit with terrible pangs of depression. I've never had a serious relationship in my life and I'm almost find it faulty. I'm finding it a huge distraction. Or maybe that's something that you need to experience as a relationship. But it is only a feeling, it's not true. There is no loneliness. Look, there is everything, and everything is yourself. We think that companionship is being in relationship with other people, but it's not. It's what's happening. It's what's happening. And in what's happening, you're not alone. How could you be alone? There is the sky, there is the trees. Sorry, I'm just describing my view. There is the light, there is the sunflowers, the cup, and none of it's outside of you. It is you. It's so close to you. It is your constant companion. There is no aloneness. That's a lie. That's a lie. That you are alone. Just before my big change in Bali, I lost a lot of my things. My life changed. Suddenly, I had to give up my dogs. I had to give up my home. I had to give up my visa. Suddenly, I was in a completely different place with no one I knew, and there was moments of feeling so alone and isolated. But I knew it wasn't true. And then I remember this one time I was laying on the floor, and the trees were blowing outside of my window, and I realised so strongly that I could never be the same alone. They were touching me, they were me. It wasn't about particular places that made me feel at home. It wasn't about particular people or events. It was life. Life was my home. And it was the same life, it was the same aliveness that was there in my past life to this current. Same but different, just the things look different. And it was so clear. See that the wind is your lover, the sky is your lover, the trees are your lover, the sounds are your lover, the feelings are your lover, your feet walking along the floor is your lover. I mean that metaphorically, I don't mean that like practically and actually. You start trying to make love to the floor or to the sofa or to the wind. Life is your lover. Inni Khaleesi. Khaleesi knows. Khaleesi knows. Khaleesi knows. Don't you, Khaleesi? Yeah, you're guarding me against the flies. Anu, you guard me against the flies. Okay. So my desire to have someone to call in didn't manifest. Dear Lisa, Khaleesi is beautiful. Love watching her hugs. Thanks. Yeah, she is beautiful. People come and stop me in the street and tell me how beautiful she is. It's because I think she looks more wolf-like, and I think that we're attracted to that look. Careful with my tea. Vincent. Just have to be Careful of my microphone. Hi Lisa, what you just said resonates strongly in me, and I would like to deepen the subject with you if possible. If yes, can I call? Yeah, sure, Vincent, you can call. Just before you call, I'm just going to go to the toilet and then we'll speak. Oh, she's calling now. So, okay, let's go, Vincent. Hey, Vincent.
Hey, hi.
Hey. Sorry, just let
Wait,
me...
I'll just close the YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't see your face.
Yeah, sorry. This not gonna happen.
Okay.
It's not too far behind on YouTube. It's only a couple of seconds, so you could see my face on YouTube, but you can't see it because I need to have the phone right near my microphone.
Okay.
So to be able to hear you. Okay, so what was...
I'm just gonna bring you back on YouTube, so.
Okay. I think it'll only be a few seconds behind.
Yeah. Okay, I don't find back your link on YouTube, so that's okay. I'm gonna do it like that.
Yeah, you just have to be blind. You have to do it blind. Hello? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You've stopped. Your volume's gone out. Hello? We can't hear you.
Stillness.
I'm sorry, we couldn't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
We can now. It just wouldn't work any sound, but now it's working. So you have to start all
Sometimes.
over again.
Okay, the sound's cut sometimes?
I think that there was just a little problem with Skype, and when I switched it on and off, it started working again.
Okay, great. So, what I was saying is that... Wait. Moksha. Moksha. Okay. My dog was playing to get it. Yeah. Because I experience more and more of stillness and peace, and discovering like that I don't have that much to do meditation and things like that. It's more about, I don't know, the more I discover it and the more I see that it's a process that goes by itself. But it's when you, sorry, I have difficulty a bit in English.
Yeah.
But there's still sometimes some separation, like when I meet people that doesn't really, that are really not interested about spirituality and all of that, can still have a separation, and I feel it really untrue.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like there's a separation with them, but I can sense it. I don't feel that it is like meant to be like that, but sometimes I feel that it's there. So
What do you feel often when you're in relationship with them? Do you feel like you'd rather stop speaking, but you feel like you have to speak? Or do you feel like you can't say honestly what you think and feel?
sometimes, yes, I feel like, yeah, I feel like I can be totally myself, and that's not true, but that's how I feel at that moment. Like something closed, and yeah.
Yeah. It's because your brain is your energy, you're picking up on the way they see things, or your brain is projecting the way they see things. And not consciously, but unconsciously, you are feeling like being yourself with them, being true to yourself isn't what they want. And so you feel like you have to hide, and that hiding makes you feel separate and uncomfortable. That's all it is, really. Is that your brain is projecting what it thinks they want.
So that projecting, taking on over my natural sense of being, as if I understand it well.
Yeah. So it's basically that they're making you feel. It's not even them that's making you feel that, but by being in contact with them, you're feeling like you're not enough as you are. And you have to hide, because as soon as you hide yourself, you're kind of unconsciously saying who I am isn't enough for you. And so therefore you're having that feeling that you're not enough. There's something wrong with you, which isn't the case. And you do it for a combination of reasons, partly because you have compassion for them and empathy, and you don't want them to feel uncomfortable, partly because of fear. And the more and more this is recognised, the less and less you'll put yourself in those situations where people have strong expectations of you. It's most probably impossible totally to escape from our current society, because in our current society a lot of people are identified, but the body will just stop engaging in that because it's not kind to the other person, it's not kind to you, because the other person can feel it as well when you don't want to be in a situation. But we make up all these reasons why we have to do it, normally because they're family, because of expectations, or because they're old friends. And so we make up all these reasons and we just push ourselves through it, but it's really not compassionate on either side.
Yeah, I can sense it.
Yeah. It's difficult though, because, you know, we have families and we have friends in which we grew up with, and we're taught all these ideas that we're responsible for them, or that we have to be in relationship to them. And I'm not saying cut off all your family or friends at all, but just be aware of what you feel around them, and then your body will begin to align with that. You know, it's just like when you know you're putting a hand in the fire, you'll stop putting your hands in your fire, you'll change your behaviour. So when you're aware that's happening, that in those situations you're not feeling good enough, even though it feels like you don't like them or you don't like the way they see the world, it's actually what it's saying to you is you don't feel good enough, you don't feel enough. There will be a change of behaviour around them, and there will be a change of the way that you interact with them. Because let's be clear, you're always allowed to be who you are in every moment, and that doesn't mean being abusive or being an asshole, because I believe that when you're who you are when you move back to presence, when you really are who you are, so you're just responding, you're just reacting in the moment, you're not going to be a horrible, mean person. You're actually going to be acting out of love. So you might have, you know, like spontaneous emotions of annoyance or anger, but they won't last and they won't be evil. They'll just be actions that come out. But when you act from that place, really your actions are coming from love. And you're always allowed to come from love. You don't have to fake it for anyone. Faking it for someone isn't compassion. Being yourself is compassion. Being yourself is love, because then that encourages others to be their self. You don't have to be anyone for anyone. We're always taught that we have to sacrifice, because that's a very Christian idea, that we have to sacrifice ourselves, we have to do all these things against ourselves, and this isn't true. The greatest gift you can ever give humanity is being yourself, which is presence, and acting from presence, which is this spontaneous reaction that comes from mystery. It doesn't come from the identity. And that will naturally begin to happen the more and more it's recognised that who you are is this alive presence. You're not the person moving in time. Often we put ourselves in these situations out of guilt or fear.
Sorry, I've missed the last sentence.
Yeah? Often we're putting ourselves in these situations out of guilt or fear.
But just by listening to what you were saying, it was make me drop into a state where I can be with someone without any interference of the person,
Yeah.
or the mind or whatever.
Yeah.
And I can really sense what you say. How let's say greater or whatever it could be for me and for the other, because at the end of it all, I'm just more there.
Yeah.
So no matter what I had to say, I can really sense how it can be better for each other.
Yeah, totally, totally. The greatest gift you can ever be or give to someone is to be yourself.
Yes, and I've always believed that, and at a certain point really live it, but with speaking with you, I can, it's like some layers go deeper, and it makes me, I feel very good, and I would like to go a bit further if you want.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Because what I experience is that I've learned to be present even if I don't feel very good with the other person. Like most of the time when I feel separated, as I said earlier, it's because people kind of like throwing everything that they don't like about life. They like to tell me that stuff. I don't know why, but they like to speak to me about it. Because most of the time I'm quite I listen. I like to listen to people. But,
Are you sure you like to listen to people?
That's a great question.
Because sometimes it's just a role that we've grown up with. Like it was a role that I grew up with. I'm super chatty when I'm on a subject that I'm passionate about, but I can also be quite quiet. And if you can be quite quiet, then sometimes people can bombard you with their stuff.
Yeah, that's right. It's not that I like to listen that much. It's just that I have nothing to say.
Yeah. So therefore,
I don't really like to speak that much.
Yeah.
Like most of my time I'm sitting in silence, or like I'm a quiet guy. So yeah, it's true. It's not that I like to listen that much.
So that's really beautiful. So just the acknowledgement and the recognition of that will more than likely change the next time that somebody's telling you about their problems or telling you all the stuff, because when they do that, they get endorphins, so they get positive feelings. When somebody's worrying about something and they get to share it with someone and they get to express it, it actually gives them endorphins. But actually what they're doing to you is they're kind of offloading onto you. They're kind of using you as a way to get rid of some of their stuff, which is okay to do that for people sometimes, but just recognize that if that's a role that you've got used to taking, because you're not somebody that's got lots to say or to express, you've got used to that being the relationship you have with people, because most people aren't comfortable with sitting in silence, so they won't sit with you in silence, so therefore they will then take over talking, or they'll bombard you with their worries or their fears, and then you've kind of got used to that. You've got used to that role, and it's not that you necessarily like it. If you go into the feeling when they're doing it, maybe you don't like it, and that's okay to not like it. You know, I felt like, because I'd grown up with it so much, I kind of felt like it was just my job, and it wasn't even about liking or not liking. It was just what I was used to. And then over time there began to be this acknowledgement actually that it's not something that I want to be doing. I don't mind doing it to an extent, like a little bit, but it's not that something I want to be doing. And I realized that, you know, going to a coffee shop and speaking with people wasn't my thing. Like, I like to be active. I would much rather go and do a game with someone or be sporty with someone. You know, we don't have to, it's our society that says that talking is the only way in which we can communicate. You know, doing something together can be a way to communicate as well. Helping someone fix a fence, or playing a sport or playing a game with someone can be a way to communicate. But our society kind of has got into this like rut that the way to communicate is to go to dinner or go to coffee with someone. I really don't enjoy that so much. I much prefer walking or being active with someone. So that's something I recognize, that if I sit down and speak with someone for coffee or go out for dinner with them, and if they're not interested in the same things I'm interested in non-duality or in, I quite like talking about politics or subjects that I like, then there's a good chance that we're going to get into a cycle of them emotionally unburdening on me. And that's not something I want to do, or a situation I want to put myself into. So in those situations, I'll suggest we physically do an activity together. So if with family members, so like with my dad's not much of a talker actually, but we bike ride together. And we talk about bikes, and he shows me how to fix this or the latest bikes, and it sort of gets out of that having to find conversation that you're not interested in. It's a weird way that we communicate. You'll notice actually that the great way of bonding with humans is actually working together with them. Like whenever they do team building exercises for companies, it's always like they always do activities together. It's like they do something rather than sitting and talking. So this is you know, with my mum, I help her do the shopping. I help her do an activity. I do things with her rather than getting stuck of being an emotional release for people. Because often when you've taken care of your own stuff, you don't really have that need to emotionally unburden on other people. But a lot of people in our society do, because they're not happy the way their lives are. They've been told a lie that future is happiness. And they're constantly peddling and striving for this future happiness. So when they have a moment to sit over a coffee, their body's still in that agitated state. So the conversation they have is an agitated conversation.
Yes, and I've realized that even if they are not only constant talking about them, if they want to know about me, it's just about like superficial thing that even me doesn't interest me.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even interested about that thing about, I wouldn't have speak to anyone about it. You know?
Yeah.
So I like what you propose about doing activity, because I feel like stuck in a way, because I started to get distance with everyone except my girlfriend, which we can really connect in a deeper way.
Yeah. And that's really okay to feel like it's shallow connections with people. It's almost like our society pushes it on us and makes us feel guilty for not being able to like talking about these superficial things. So I really recommend try using your imagination to think of different ways to connect with people, because talking isn't the only way to connect.
Yeah.
There's so many more ways to connect with people. It's just that our society has got so mental and made it that talking is the only way to connect, which is crazy. Me and my dad really connect when we're really in the flow of bike riding, and that's really not like about talking. You know, like doing a really hard bike ride is so exciting and so much fun. But I really like bike riding. That's just a particular. I mean, my dad and I have done it since I was really young. So, but I do that with other friends as well. I quite like sports, so I'm quite lucky like that. But there's so many different ways in which you can be creative with people. And you don't have to be people's emotional release. That's not really connecting. It's something they're getting out of it.
Yeah, that's the point. And I see that I started to respect myself at those moments and start to like cut it short when they was speaking like this, because at the beginning I was like, okay, I'm just gonna read into it and let them speak. But the more I was releasing inside, and the more it was expanding, or I don't know, but I was thinking that it was make them quieter, but it was the opposite. So I start to cut it short, but It's like, okay, I cut everyone short this week.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
is it just a sense of separation? And by speaking with you, I feel that no, that's not that. And that
Yeah.
makes me feel really great, because maybe that's somewhere I was asking me,
Yeah.
am I doing it right? Or
Ramesh used to say, so Ramesh Balsakar was a teacher I used to go and see often. He used to say, in every given moment, do exactly what you feel like doing. So, and what he was saying by that, I'm not sure if he would like my interpretation, but this was my interpretation. It's like, it's not about being selfish. It sounds like a really selfish thing, but it's trying to recognize like what you want, not from an attached place, or not from a needy place, not because you're afraid, but that natural flow. So in that moment, recognizing that your natural flow doesn't want to do that, and just acknowledging that, and just saying, no, I don't want to do this, and that there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I felt really grateful for Ramesh pointing that out, because I'd been into non-duality for so long. Sometimes I felt a bit confused about how action happened, and it's not like a selfish follow your flow. It's like it's this loving, gentle place. It's not coming from fear, it's not coming from neurosis, it's not coming from seeking. It's just a natural, my energy saying no now. So nice. I think people will be really grateful that you brought that up, because I think everybody struggles with that.
And I really appreciate the way you bring it to me, because as you said, in non-duality it's so direct that sometimes can be about more concrete thing or more mattering thing. I don't know how to say it, but it can be a bit, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it in English, but you understand, I guess.
Yeah, I do, totally.
And I appreciate it, because you have a way to speak to me about it that is still, like say, non-duality view, or I don't know how to say it, but it's not like you said that to be identified with fear or stuff like that.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, well, thank you for phoning in and sharing that. That was really a nice conversation. I like where it went. So thanks for that. I'm sorry that you couldn't see me.
It's a pleasure.
Oh,
so,
nice to speak with you again.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Bye,
Yeah.
Vincent.
Bye.
Nice, guys. Thank you. I just saw the time. I have to make a move, as I'm going to cinema tonight to see The Party. It's an English film. I don't know how good it will be. It's meant to be a comedy. But thank you, guys. It's always beautiful to speak with you and to share this subject. It's so beautiful that we're able to hear this and share this and speak about it. So thanks, guys, and I shall see you on Wednesday. Next weekend I will be away in Spain. If you're in Barcelona or Spain next weekend, then you can come and see me there. But lots of love, guys. Bye. Thank you.